Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Now, clearly we've got a little bit of a different setup today, and that's mainly because of the fact that I picked up a BYOP from Colourpop. Now, they recently discontinued a bunch of their shades and then brought in a whole bunch of new shades, and as you can see, I have 23 to show off today. Only 2 of them are not new, and yes, we are missing one because after waiting over a week to get this over to me, they actually didn't ship me one of my shades. So that is a bit of a bummer, but I have contacted customer service and hopefully they will get back to me soon. Hi, this is Editing Rob. Now, you see, past Rob doesn't realize that this is gonna turn into a 45-minute long video. And I'm sure there are some people that might have stumbled across this that just want the swatches to help with their BYOP. So I figured that I would go ahead and slap them here so you did not have to wait. Keep in mind that these are all single swatches done on a bare arm because I am lazy. The first shot you'll see will all be like indoor natural lighting that I went ahead and took them outside. I even went ahead and did a close-up of the shimmers just so that you can gauge their reflection levels. Alrighty, if that's all you're looking for, best of luck to you in your BYOP journeys. Feel free to abandon me like the rest of the men in my life. However, if you are interested in live swatches and musings on all of these colors, their textures and formulations, be sure to stay tuned. Now, for those of you guys who are unaware, over on my Instagram, I've actually been working a lot with this fall curation palette that I went ahead and put together. But to be honest with you, there are definitely some shades that have not served me well as we've moved deeper into the fall season. So I kind of want to go ahead and make some dynamic edits. Maybe not specifically in today's video, but I wanted to go ahead and swatch these new shades to see what could potentially fit. Because as you can see, we definitely have some very strong contenders for the fall season. So let's just go ahead and see what happens with this weird setup. Like, listen, I don't know how this is all gonna work out in the end or if this is gonna be any usable footage whatsoever, but we're gonna go ahead and give it a shot. So without ado, let's jump into some swatches. Now, what I think I'm gonna start with is all of the mattes, even though I do have them in this like pretty colorful kind of like coordinated setup. I think it's always better to kind of put mattes together first, and then we'll go ahead and move into all of the shimmers. So maybe we'll go row by row. This, oh no, I've ruined it all. My Virgonian OCD is kicking in. All right, so this first shade I'm actually very, very fond of. This is called Bump This. I'm not sure if we're gonna be able to read it. Maybe you will. But I'll go ahead and give you guys a swatch. I'll also see if I can kind of like insert like a close-up of all of these. I don't know what I'm doing here. Basically my entire life story. So it's this really, really pretty kind of like tangerine matte shade, and it reminds me a lot of Koi from the previous set. It's really, really pretty, and I put it on my lids, and it actually reminds me very much of the, what is it called? The Naked Honey. There's a shade in there that I think is called Swarm that everybody absolutely freaking loves, and that's kind of like one of the main shades. And I've really wanted to go ahead and dupe the vibes of that palette, and I think that this might be a really, really good contender for it. So that one, I'm definitely looking forward to playing around with. Now, here's an interesting fact. I do want to put this out there because I find it very strange that I am the kind of person, by the way, I'm using this little kind of color switchy thing to go ahead and clean my fingers off between each swatch, that I really like the color yellow on my lids, and I really like the color red on my lids, but I'm not the biggest fan of orange on my lids, which I find to be very, very strange. Now, this next color I've been eyeing for quite some time. It's this yellow tone. It's kind of like a dirty yellow, and it reminds me a lot of Paper Tiger when you take a look at it. It's called Trooper. Can we get it to focus? Listen, you could just believe me that it says Trooper. But it's like Paper Tiger, but it's a lighter version because it's got a little bit of like mustardiness to it, which I think is really, really pretty. But I did feel like Paper Tiger kind of like maybe blended into my lid just a little too much. So I feel like this one is a great way to kind of introduce a subtle pop of fall color without being too obnoxious. Because I do have, as you saw in my fall palettes, in that curation specifically, it had a very, very bright canary yellow in there. And it did have a nice punch to it, but it didn't necessarily have as much pigmentation as I wanted, and I don't necessarily know if it's the most fall appropriate. So moving along, oh, I've used this shade. It's a fucking gorgeous shade. I love this one so much. It is called Playing Games, and it's kind of like this terracotta with a shimmer. Now, usually, I fucking hate mattes with shimmers. If I'm gonna be completely honest with you, it irritates me. But the one thing that I will say about the shimmer in this is it's like a bronzy shimmer. Usually all of the shimmers that I've seen are like golden shimmers. I don't know why. They put it in several of their tones where they're like purple, where they're like mauve, where they're like, I don't know, they're just shades that, why would you put a gold shimmer in those shades? It makes no sense. But this one actually makes some sense. And I'm really, I loved using this. It's a really, like, it's almost peanut buttery. I love it so much. So let's go ahead and give that a swatch. Oh, it's so pretty. Oh, I love that. It's nice as kind of like a deepening shade, a standalone shade. And to be honest with you, you don't see the shimmers as much when you're using it. So again, that one was Playing Games. Oh my God, I'm placing these all crazily. Oh. Now this next shade is called You Got It. And this one fooled me. This one is a liar of a shade, and I just got it all over my fingers. So as you can see, it's this kind of like, again, very like peanut buttery terracotta-y shade. It's very, very pretty. Let me wipe my finger real quick, like all sides of my finger, because I am not good at picking this up. This is really, really pretty, but the way that it translates onto my lid is it translates very orange, like almost too orange. And like I was saying earlier, see right here, it's kind of like this rusty, like really, really pretty orangey, like rust color. It's very, very nice. I like it a lot, but for some reason on my lid specifically, it ends up looking very orange. And I'm not sure, but you know what? With all of these shades, I think it's really, really cool. You can kind of come up with like a pumpkin spice theme. Let me know if you guys would like to see me work on a pumpkin spice palette, because one I'm working on right now is of course the fall edit. And then I also wanted to go ahead and do the honey dupe. So I wanted to dupe that out. And then I've also got this like weird kind of like, I don't know, thing in my brain where I want to be like a princess. So, and that translates into like cool nudes and like purpley shimmers. Don't ask me why, but that's where my brain goes. So moving on to the next matte, this one is called In Frequency. And I kind of really, really love this one too. Like it's just a nice like nudie shade. It has that little orangey tone to it. It's a little bit more along the sides of like peachy and corally. It's really, really pretty. I like that one a lot. I feel like that's a little bit more of a summer shade, but you know what? It's neutral. You can toss it in the crease. It's one of those workhorse shades. You know what I mean? All right, so slightly future Rob, just inserting in some clips for In Frequency because I kind of totally forgot to put this in. All right, so moving along. This is not a new shade, but like I was saying earlier, I have a thing for reds and I have a thing for yellows. In fact, I have a large collection of reds. Should I show you right now? Maybe I should show you. Hold on. Let me go ahead and pull out my palettes real quick. And let's take a look. This is, I have like all of these reds. All of these reds are right here. I also clearly have reds in the palette, and I've been playing around, like I have these kind of reds right here too. They don't really look red on the camera, but they translate to red when you swatch them. And then of course I have reds in the palette. And I'm just obsessed with getting the perfect red. So that whole row is kind of like reddy tones right there. So when I saw this, I was like, okay, this has been sold out for a while. So let me go ahead and get my hands on it. But this one is called Oh Ship. Hold on, I should probably show you. Oh my God, it's supposed to be an orange. It's supposed to be a red orange. So as you can see, it's very, very pretty. and it's called Oh Ship. Oh my god, I didn't show you the name for the other one. Listen, you're just gonna have to trust me. Or maybe you don't trust me, maybe I should show you. Maybe I should do like a drop-in because I'm like a failure at this. And let's go ahead and swatch this real quick. And I don't know how I feel about it. It's very, very bright. It is like an in-your-face red. And a part of me is like, maybe it's too blue a red. Maybe I like orangey reds, but I don't like orange. Does that make me sound insane? That's potentially a thing. So moving on to a shade that I know I shouldn't have bought because I will never get any use out of it, but legitimately I thought that maybe you know how you get in that like mindset of like, maybe it looks a little bit different in the picture than it does in real life, yada, 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 yada. Because definitely with Colourpop singles, a lot of the times on their site, like the color does not match up to what they've got pictured, or at least like in the pan. Like there's a color called Top Notch, and it is way darker in real life than it actually is on the screen. So I was like, okay, well maybe this shade will work for me, and maybe it won't be as crazy as it is. This one is called Latchkey, and as you can see, it is this very like purpley berry, like fuchsia red kind of like shade, right? And I was thinking maybe it'll just be a really intense red because clearly I have an unhealthy obsession with red. But unfortunately, Latchkey is as was advertised, and I should have known because I did watch the swatch party too, and legitimately in the swatch party, the focus is terrible. In the swatch party, legitimately, they also showed this, and it was very magenta-esque. And I was like, Rob, why did you pick this up? And listen, I cannot, you know, make excuses for myself. All I know is this is my nature. Oh, it is so magenta pinky, and that is just definitely not me. Oh my God. All right, so let's get that put away, and let's move on to a shade that I've really been enjoying these kinds of shades lately. It's kind of like a nudie, pinky, cool tone color. I really, really like it. Like I said, I've been living my princess fantasy for some reason, and I need to understand, I'm not a princess. I've tried. It's not who I am. I'm definitely more of a villain, like an evil queen. But as you can see, Charge It is kind of like this pretty cool tone pink, and I've been enjoying using this with like the kind of like soft purples and kind of like cool shimmery tones. So it's another workhorse shade. I don't think it's anything spectacular, but you know what? It does the job. And sometimes you just need things to do the job. So as you can see, it's just a really, really nice like little transition-y shade. There's nothing spectacular about it, but you know what? I've come to appreciate these shades as you get into more BYOP stuff, because every single shade out there can't be like a big stunner, you know? You have to have the ones that kind of blend in with everything else. And I think that's about it for all of the mattes that we've got here. Again, we are missing XO Baby, which did not come in my set, and that one was supposed to be like a matte hot orange with like shimmers and stuff like that. But here's what we're looking for. Oh my God, wow, that's terrible, Rob. Here's what we're looking at when it comes to like swatches. Listen, I'm dealing with a really odd tripod here, but this is of course natural light too, just in case you guys are wondering what this is. I'm just sitting in my kitchen with the blinds on. So this very first shade is called Bump This. The yellow shade right here is called Trooper. The following shade is called Playing Games, that one right there. Moving along, we have You Got It, which is right here, that kind of like rusty orangey shade. After that, we have In Frequency, which is that really kind of like soft, peachy, like orangey. It's really soft, like it's almost corally shade. It's nice. I really like that one. Then that hot red is Oh Ship, which by the way, I just like the name. So I don't regret picking it up. Then the one that I do regret picking up is that really intense kind of magenta berry, which is called Latchkey. And then finally, we have that, you know, I wish I were a princess, but I'm really not, and it's called Charge It. Again, a lifestyle that I personally do not lead myself, because I should not be charging anything at this point. Okay, so if I fiddle with this anymore, I think I'm gonna go absolutely insane, but I figured we'll go ahead and just roll with this. I've kind of arranged them in a little bit of a color order, so let's go ahead and start things off with a color that I really, really love, but I think it might be a little too strong. This shade is called Love Note, and it is this bright, intense yellow, as you can see right there. Now, this one is actually very similar to Rascal, from their original series. However, Rascal is a little bit more sheer and a little bit warmer. It's really weird because my issue is I almost like Rascal a little bit better because it's not as pigmented. This almost comes on a little too strong. Kind of like a Love Note. Like, look at how just like intense that is. I haven't even really gone in too hard. It's a very, very soft pigment, but it is like super yellow. Like, take a look at that. That is like really, it's a really well-balanced yellow. Like I was saying, Rascal is a little bit warmer and it's a little bit sheerer. So it kind of gives you a little bit of room to like build it up and blend it out. This is like intense. So if you're planning on picking this one up, make sure you go like easy on it. At first, like don't load up too much on your brush or else it's gonna be way too intense. Now, the next shade is one that I've been wanting for such a long time. This was actually in their rainbow palette. It's weird because the rainbow palette that they have right now is all singles, but they have yet to release all of those as singles, which like makes me go like, what the hell is going on? Like you literally have them available as singles. But this one is called So Meta. And it's a marigold. I think it's kind of like a goldenrod color, and that's always been one of my favorites, so it's very, very warm. But my issue with this color is the fact that legitimately So Meta is like, I want to call it a satin and not necessarily a shimmer. It just isn't as reflective as I wish that it was. It's a really, really pretty shade just on its own. Like, it's really gorgeous, but it just doesn't have, at least I don't feel like the shine translates as much. Maybe it's because it's not as bright a color, but it just doesn't feel like it has as much oomph as Love Note does. But then again, like I said, Love Note is a little strong. Love Note comes off a little strong. This next one, oh, is this Heart to Hearts? Okay, now, for those of you guys who don't know, I really, really love this color called Two Birds from the original, what do you mean original palette? I mean like my fall curation palette. This is a very, very similar shade to Two Birds. It's a very, very warm gold, almost coppery a little bit. The only thing is the formulation's a little bit different on this one. I almost feel like this one's a little sparklier, but it is one of those shades that you need to lay down with a setting spray. Like you either need to wet your brush or you need to do something to make sure that this sticks because it will flake on you. And that is, I don't know if you can tell right now, it kind of came off patchy and chunky. That's my issue with it, is that it doesn't grip to your skin as well, and you definitely need some wetness down. Like I usually don't use my shimmers with any kind of setting spray and they're usually just fine. I know that you can like really foil and metallicize a color very, very well with the use of a spray and like wetting it, but for the most part I don't find that most of the shimmers that I use need them. This is one of those ones that like if I like just let it sit on my wrist and don't really mess with it, it'll start kind of like flaking up just a little bit. But I have experimented with them where it's almost kind of like, all right, if I do set it down with a liquid, will it lay flat? And it will. So that one again was Heart to Heart. Now moving on, I just cannot explain how angry I am at this shade because it swatches kind of nicely, but at the same time it doesn't. On my eyes, it's not fantastic. So this shade is called Twin Star, and it is another yellowy tone. As you can see, it's kind of like yellow, but it's got silver in it. The shimmer is very, I would say it's either silvery or champagne. You can argue one way or another. That's the cat food. So robots feed my cat. I would just like to let you know that. If you ever heard me say that during one of my streams, robots feed my cat. I don't do it myself because otherwise I will overfeed him and he will turn into a giant fuzzball. Anyway, this shade, I don't know if you can tell, but the way that it's textured and the way that the like, I guess the undertone of it is very like yellowy. And then of course at the very, very top, we have all of the kind of like champagne silvery glitters. It looks like Parmesan cheese on the eyes. I'm not the biggest fan of this shade. And it's weird because it's very firmly kind of like packed in there. So it almost feels like you're playing around with Parmesan cheese. So I don't know if you can get that texture in there. Like, you see what I mean? Number one, it's not super duper smooth and it kind of looks like Parmesan. So you really need to like sit there and like blend it out. And dear Lord God, I am not fond of this wet either. Like, you really have to like push it in to like get it to kind of like bind and like meld with itself. So like right there, it looks like a really pretty shimmery color, but don't let it fool you because legit, it just looks like Parmesan cheese. And unless I'm trying to do like a food themed makeup tutorial, I don't think it's really something that I would reach for. So that's kind of going in my bad bin. This next shade, oh my God, this goes in my, I love this shade. This is the shade that I've been dreaming of. There is a shade that I've been trying to find something similar from in, what do you call this? In the Honey palette from Naked. I haven't been able to find this. This isn't the dupe for it, but this is probably gonna take its place. This one is called Material Girl. And let me just tell you right now, it is potentially my favorite shade from this palette. I'm not sure if, like, listen, if all of my zoom ins are like really, really like, there you go, not clear at all, at least you can kind of make out the words a little bit. But it's this deep chocolate brown, and it's just, number one, it's buttery, smooth, and intense. Like, Colourpop has done a couple other really, really dark metallics before, and they tend to be, I want to say like binder heavy, like they'll almost hard pan on you. This one is not. This one does not feel like it's gonna hard pan, and it's so, look at just, oh my God, it's just perfect. It's just like the intensity is just like, wow, wee wow. That's a wow, wee wow shade right there. And I am all about it. Like, oh my God, I cannot get over this shade. It's an amazing shade. I'm gonna be doing like brown smoky eyes, left, right, and center with that. Feel very, very good about that pickup. This next one is Not Okay. And this is very similar to the other shade that I was talking about earlier that was very foily and that you have to lay down with a, what do you call this? With a setting spray. Like, you definitely have to wet your brush with this. You can see how like metallic-y and foily it is. Super, super pretty. And it's like coppery. It's very similar to Crackle. If you had it from the original version, but again, this has some bigger sparkles in it as opposed to Crackle. Crackle is a little bit smoother and just like a plain metallic. This one definitely has like little glittery, shimmery particles. But again, I'm gonna show you guys. You can see the texture in there that it has not laid down completely flat, right? So you do gotta go in, make sure your brush is wet, and you gotta smooth it out a little bit. But other than that, and like I said, I tested these on a wet brush. And once you do lay them down with something that's wet, it grips perfectly fine. It stays in there. And one of the other things that I want to point out is I don't really get much fallout when it comes to these metallics, except for these foily shades. These foily shades, you really got to make sure that you lay down. But other than that, it's really, really pretty. Is it going to take the place of Crackle? Probably not. Again, it's a very bronzy orangey shade. And y'all know, like, I like red, I like yellow, but for some reason, I don't like bronze. Now, or orange. This next one is weird. I'm going to put it up to the camera. Now, I'm going to hold it at this angle. This is the angle that Colourpop has it kind of like pictured at, you know, on their site. They're like, ooh, look at it. And so when I looked at it, I was like, ooh, it looks like a frosty purpley color, right? It's like this weird iridescent frosty color, but it's a duochrome and it's a orange. It's orange and then it shifts to this weird like, and what I'm gonna tell you right now is it might look pretty on camera. I don't think it really looks pretty in real life. So this is Miser. And you have to understand that this thing has a very strong orange base. Wow, the autofocus is just darkening everything up. Lighten, thank you. Bring the light in. So again, this is like the shade that they kind of have it pictured at. This is what it actually kind of looks like. It's a weird orange at its base. And let me show you the finger. Look at how dark that orange is. That's that orange. That is literally like the color that it goes on. And then when you swipe it, I don't know what it's gonna look like on the camera. It is very orange. You see how orange it is, right? It's a very orange tone on the lids, and then you get that sheen of blue. I get it. They're like complementary colors, you know, blues pop off of oranges. It's like this really, and that orange, at least from what I'm looking at, is at most a satin. It's not a shimmery orange. I need to let you know that. It's not a shimmery orange. It's at least like a satiny orange. Oh, I don't know. And this is also going in the bad bin. I don't know how I'm gonna work with that. I don't know if I wanna work with that. It's just like a really weird, it's a really weird shade. But some of y'all might really like it. The next one, I love this. It's named after a video game that I also quite enjoy. It's called Anthem, and it's another one of those foily shades. This reminds me a lot of Thank You Next, but as you can see, it's kind of like this, how do I want to put it? It's kind of like this really foily, sparkly, like a warm rose. Not like a cool dusty, you know how they have those cool dusty roses? It's kind of like a combination. It's like if a rose and a bronze had a baby. That's where it's sitting, and it's really, really pretty. Again, this is one of those shades that you definitely have to go ahead and, did I do the close-up thing? Did I do this? It says Anthem. I mean, you go trust me? There you go, trust me, there you go. So that's what that is, but legitimately, like, it is so foily and so pretty, and you definitely need to lay that down with a little bit of like setting spray or something, or else it will flake up all over your face. But if you wet it, it's actually really, really gorgeous. Let me give it a little arm turns, because I know we're in direct sunlight, but you can get like the full, look at the fullness of that color. It's really, really pretty. But again, it is very similar to things along the lines of Misty, Thank You Next, like those, Wishing Star, I think it's called. So if you have those, you probably don't need this one, but it does have a slightly different tone. I feel like this one's a little less red, while Thank You Next has a little bit more of like a pinky red to it. Look, do you see what's happening here? I'm trying to record a video, Apollo. Don't knock down this camera. I love you. I love you. I know the robot feeds you now, but you know, you're getting in my light, babes. Babe, you're in my, I'm trying to show them this color. I love you. I love you, but can you, oh my God, wow. Look, do you see this? Look at this, just full on tail action right here. Can you, don't do that to the camera. Babes. Oh, he does not want to go, hold on. Let me show my baby to you. Look at this little baby, look at him. Oh, baby, you like the colors too? I love you, my little sweet pea. Oh, he's just resting in the sunlight in my arms. You're ruining my arm swatches though, you gotta go. He has successfully ruined this video. No, and now he's back. Apollo, get down. You can stay there, you can lay there. You can lay there, but you can't come over here. Okay, so some of the swatches might have gotten a little worn there, so remember what they looked like previously to this, but now you know what happens when cats lay on your face, I guess? Listen, we'll just roll with it. So the next shade is called High Society, and this one reminds me a lot of the Aries Pressed Shadow. However, this one is slightly different in its tone. It's a very, very orange shade. Again, if you're looking for pumpkin spicy, yo, this is the perfect season for you. Hello, babes. Okay, so here is High Society swatched. Oh, it is like this bright corally orange. Like, do you see how like intense that is? That is a crazy just pop in. Like, it's weird because I feel like this shade is like a reddy orange, but I feel like it's way more of a summer shade than it is like a fall shade, right? Like, that is definitely more summery to me, but I guess you could kind of almost say that it's like a winter spicy shade, which is also fun. But I just think that this kind of like belonged more in a summer collection than it does in like a fall or winter. It feels more fun. This is a more fun shade. Oh, y'all, I am running out of arm space. No wonder all those people always need to do swatches with the little stencils and shit. So next up, we have Turntables. This one is a really, really pretty color. This one's a Duochrome, and it's kind of like peach into gold. Peach into gold. Peach? No, pink. I would say pink. It's like a hot pink into gold. So let's go ahead and give this one a swatch. Oh, it's so soft. Like, a lot of these shades are really, really soft. The foil ones get a little flaky and get a little patchy. Oh, just look. Do you see? Do you see that hot pink? You see that hot pink? And then you see the gold? You see the hot pink and you see the gold? It's so freaking pretty and really pigmented and very, very soft. Very, very soft. It's so nice. But again, not necessarily a shade that I would wear. It's weird because we've got it in like sunlight, so I don't know if you could, like, here's another little angle so you can see what's going on. See that pink? That pink's really intense, but if I go into the light like this, is really gold, it's really reflecty. So that one is Turntables if you know, wanna fuck some shit up. Next up, we have another shade that I was hoping was not the shade that they pictured. I thought it was gonna be, I was hoping that it would be reddish, okay? I was hoping that it was gonna be reddish. This one is called Cater to You. And it is a hot Barbie pink. There's really no other way to put it. I was thinking that it might be like, maybe it's like an electric red. Again, my fascination with red never ceases. I'm really trying to get it to focus. There you go. But it is very much, see, okay, if I hold it like this, it looks like it could be a hot red, right? But here is definitely like a vibrant Barbie pink. So me, personally, it's not my color, but I know that there are people out there that do definitely like shades like this. So for those of you out there who like a little Barbie pink action, here it is for you. Very, very strong, very, very pretty. Again, look at that intense pink. It's a very, very, I don't think, I could not figure out a place that I would ever wear that. For me specifically, because as you guys know, I love grungy looks. That's the thing. You gotta have a little bit of grunge in there. This is another color that I went ahead and picked up that I hoped would be red. This is called Dear Diary. Let's see if we can get the focus. There you go. There you go. And then again, I was thinking, okay, maybe it's a red, right? It's not a red. It's definitely like a magenta with a purple shifty color. It's not really duochrome. It just has like purple little glitters to it. So it kind of pairs really well with Cater to You if you like those two shades. This one is a little bit cooler. It's not, I feel like I'm looking at it and it's not as densely rich as Cater to You, but it's still pretty gosh darn intense, right? You can still see how this one's a little bit cooler and this one's a little bit warmer. So, you know, take that information as you will. Again, not a shade that I would necessarily use, but I don't know, maybe one day I could do like a look with shades I would never use. I don't know. This next one is not a new shade. This one is an old shade that I've been eyeing for such a long time, because like I said, I like me a little bit of grunge, so I had to go ahead and pick up Goody Two Shoes. It's this like carbon like gray, and it is absolutely Like, it's just gorgeous. Now, the thing is, in the pan, it looks darker than it actually translates to in your eye. Not in your eye, but on your eye. Oh, get it? It's literally like a pencil. It's literally like a pencil, and I'm kind of super duper into that. So we go from these shades that I would never use to a shade that I like covet. It's, wow, just look at that. It's just nice and like rich. I think like smoky eyes for the fall, you know what I mean? Like, look at that intensity. I'm into it so much. It's so freaking gorgeous. It's very, very sparkly. It might not show it as much on camera, but definitely in the light. It's well balanced. And when I say well balanced, I mean it's like, I don't feel like it leans blue. I don't feel like it leans purple. I don't feel like it leans brownish. Because you know sometimes you have those, listen, if you've ever watched one of my contact videos, like I'm all about gray contacts, and I'm always like, oh, this contact looks gray on me, or like this gray contact turns blue on me, yada, yada, yada. This is a well-balanced gray, so it sits right in the middle. You could blend it out with a bunch of different shades. I've actually blended it out with like a mauve-y, gray purple. I think it's really, really pretty. Now, we were talking about living out my princess fantasy. This is the shade that I picked up to do it in, and I kind of love it. This is called The Most, and I'll tell you right now, this shade is probably one of my favorite pickups from this entire setting. It's a kind of like dusty purple. It's like a lavender, but I don't know if it's picking it up, but it kind of gets like a gold reflect to it. So when it hits the light, it kind of warms up a little bit. It's really like, for lack of a better term, it's very Disney. It's very romantic. Like if you hold it up at certain lights, it just, oh my God, it's just beautiful. So I don't know how it's gonna read on camera, but I just know like it looks like a standard purple. Oh, I don't even know if it's gonna show up, but it looks like a standard purple, but you can see that it's kind of leaning a little bit goldish. Cat's back, by the way. So that's the purple that it is, right? But like when you get it in the light, it's kind of like a golden tone. So it's really, really pretty, and I don't think that the camera like captures its beauty, but as you can see, it's like a purple 1 minute, but it's almost blending into the yellowness of my arm the next minute. So freaking pretty. Now this last shade, and my battery's dying, so I'm not even sure if I'm gonna be able to get it on there, but let's give it a shot. This one is called Tickled. And Tickled is the ultimate like Disney princess fantasy, but it's a fucking mess. I'll tell you that right now. It is a mess to work with. I don't know if you can see it, but the pan is super flaky. It like crumbles. It's a weird formula. And at first when I got it, I was like, oh, this is gonna go into the bad bin. But it's kind of like a mauve pink shade, but it's got like blue and like lavender shimmers in there. It's kind of gross. Like, look, do you see the texture on it? It's like kind of gross. But I find that, you know, if you just lightly blend it in, or if you like really push it in with your fingers, it like ends up shearing into this really, really pretty like pinky mauve like shimmer. Look at how, oh my God, look at how shimmery that bitch is. Wow, 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 wow. And I find that you can like wet it too, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. Like it almost looks, you can keep it really sheer and it almost looks transparent. Oh, but the sparkle on it is just so ridiculously intense. I do like a mauve, that's it right there. I do like a mauve, like all over the lid, and then I pop this in the center, and it's just like literally living out your like Disney princess fucking fantasy. Ah! All right, so clearly I'm knocking things around and the sunlight is moving. So here's another close-up of all of those shimmers this way, okay? So that's how it looks this way. And then let's do another one this way, because clearly they look very different when we kind of like, you know, shift them. So this very first shade up here is Love Note. And keep in mind, my cat has literally laid on my arm. This next shade that we have here is So Meta. It's that marigold yellow. The next one that we have is Heart to Heart. which is that really pretty kind of like bronzy golden shade. That one flakes a little bit. The next one is Parmesan Cheese, also known as Twin Star. It's a really high shine metallic. I've noticed that I can put this in like my inner corner and it's kind of like fine and dandy, but really you kind of got to blend it out and make sure it doesn't get all chunkers and crazy on you, because it can get ugly like that. Next up, we have one of my favorites, which is Material Girl, that rich, even with a cat laying on it. Wow, it still retains the pigmentation. And then after that, we have Not Okay, which is this metallic right here. It's a little bit faded. Like I said, this is gonna be one of those ones that you need to like lay down with a, this one right here, that you need to lay down with a setting spray, whether you wet your brush or whether you do it afterwards, you need to lay it down. Next one is the weird one, the weird shifty one. This one right here is Miser with all of the blue shimmer in it, and it kind of like looks like a satin on its own. I'm just saying, not my favorite. Following that up is Anthem, which clearly didn't last. All of the Anthem jokes that everybody's gonna make, anyone who's a gamer gets that reference. But set this down with a little bit of a setting mist, and it's actually really, really pretty. This one over here is High Society, that kind of like hot orangey, kind of like corally craziness that is going on right there. Really, really pretty. After that, we have Turntables, that great duochrome that is like a pink to gold shift. Y'all see that right there. And then following that, we have the Barbie pink called Cater to You. That one's just all kind. Look at that intense pinkiness. Is really, really intense. Then finishing that off, we have Dear Diary, which is the cooler version of that Barbie pink. It's almost like a little purple. Next one is one of my favorites, of course, Goody Two Shoes right here, which is that kind of graphite. And then afterwards, we have like Disney Princess Dream, also known as The Most. Oh my god, Apollo. So the sun moved, the cat attacked, the battery died. We might have to rethink this setup, but again, this one right here is my Disney Princess Dream. It is called The Most. It's the purple with like the golden shift. Do you see that golden shift now? Do you see what I mean? It's got a little golden shift too. It's really, really freaking pretty. This one is definitely, if you like cool tones, definitely try that one out, even if you don't like cool tones, because that gold just kind of warms it up a little bit. And then finally, we have Tickled, which is a hot mess to work with, but really just reflective and pretty and shimmery. It's really gorgeous. It's just a pain in my ass. That's all that I can really say about it. So here are all of the swatches of those shimmer shades. I don't really know what else to say when it comes to this video or how I'm gonna end up fixing it. But if y'all got some ideas, I would really be glad to let me know. Something that I could do easily, because I really enjoyed having a little chit chat with color to you guys. And let me know too, as we close this out, what you guys think about the fall palette. Some of these colors are now not available because they did go ahead and discontinue, but the shades that I'm thinking of getting rid of is this bright, crazy yellow over here, because I'm finding that I'm not using it as much, and legit, for some reason, when I use Paper Tiger, which is this mustardy color, this yellow color, they kind of look very similar on the eye, so it's almost redundant having this one in there. The next color I'm thinking of getting rid of is this matte bright red. I just don't use it as much. I thought that I would, but this is actually a very intense red. It comes off very red when you're like blending it off in the eye, and this is just like pow. It's like almost a little too much. I'm also thinking of getting rid of this kind of graphite green. It's really, really pretty, but I'm just not reaching for it much, and it's very cool toned as opposed to the other two greens that I have in here, which are very, very warm toned. And also this one, which is this kind of like, I want to call it like a satin pink. It's like a duochrome. You know how like I was showing off that weird orange one with the orange base and then it had like the blue shimmer? It's very similar. This is like a neutral base with like a pink shimmer, like a cool pink shimmer. It's pretty, but I don't think it's pretty enough. So those are 4 shades. That's like a row. So I'm considering like maybe restructuring. We'll figure it out. Let me know if you think that any of these shades that you saw today would fit in those spots. I'm gonna take a think on my own, and maybe we'll go ahead and save that for the next video. Regardless, that's gonna do it for me for now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think about it down in the comments below. Let me know if maybe you want me to do a big old red swatching video. We can do that, or maybe I can swatch all my yellows. Toss that down in the comments as well. But as always, I can't figure out how I'm gonna end up doing this. Love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch yo body. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye. Is this upside down for you? This could potentially be upside down for you too. Well, fuck me.